Hi, I'm Sam Clear, and here's something to think about. While I was walking around the world praying for the unity of the church, I arrived in a very small Franciscan church in southern France. I was about 14,000 kilometres into the journey, which for all the Americans there is around about 8,500 to 9,000 miles into the journey. I'd walked a long way, and on this day it was pouring with rain. My socks were saturated, and I'm sorry to say, I'd lost the skin off a few toes. They were bleeding badly. When I knocked on the door of this little Franciscan church in southern France, the priest opened up, but didn't even invite me inside. He asked me what I wanted, I told him what I was doing, what the mission was, and I asked him, would you mind extending to your parish the invitation to pray for complete unity, to continue Jesus' prayer from John 17? The priest said, okay. And I said, well, realising I wasn't going to get any further with him, I might keep going. I had another 20 kilometres to walk that day. As I walked off though, obviously a little bit of guilt set in, and this priest called me back and he said, is there anything you need? And I said to him, well, my socks are saturated and I do have a dry pair in my backpack. Would you mind if I changed socks? He said, very well, come in. He didn't invite me far into his house, in fact, about 1 metre. He stood back from the door and let me stand in that 1 metre gap. I removed my boots and then the bloodied socks. In fact, the left sock had to be prized from my toes very slowly. At that point, the priest's tone changed. And he said, hang on a second, are you actually doing this? And I said, doing what? He said, praying for unity and walking around the world. I said, yes. He said, hang on, tell me the whole story again. And so this time I got to tell him the story and he listened to me. And he ran off and came back not just with some socks, but with his actual sock drawer. They were full of socks. He said, take what you want. Ran off again, came home back with some hot soup, then came back with a heater for me to warm up with. And then he apologised and he said, I didn't believe you at first because I've never met a young person who actually would sacrifice for God. He said, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. He said, can I take some details down to show the people in the parish? And is there a website they can go to? So I gave him the details for that. But I walked on thinking about how important it is that we encounter God, that we encounter each other, and we allow those around us to encounter us. Just something to think about.